I was like really like not happy about it at first, but now I think it's just like such a great learning example. I don't even know where my phone is. That like it'll help you guys stay in your power zone when you guys are doing sales calls. Because it's the way I approach the situation that's like the big game changer versus me just straight up being like, dude, what the fuck are you thinking? Why are you in business? Like I could have said that, but I don't think he would have been as responsive. And I knew I needed to be more sensitive with the guy. Like he was different. And I felt for him too. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was like, damn, I'm talking to a 16-year-old Laura. Like, I really did feel that type of way. And I was just like, I got to show up for him. And then Lee, me having to train a team member, a new brand curator, held me accountable to being my highest self. Because like I said, if Lee was not there, 50-50 shot, I would have just gave up on the call and be like, dude, we're not a good fit. Like, there's absolutely no way you'll ever switch your paradigm. Like, not going to do it. But I did it. So let's, where's this?
Did he buy the thing at the end or?
I was like, dude, don't spend all your money on this. I don't care if he buys. I like my biggest thing was getting him to see the shift that needed to happen, dude. I literally he's a copywriter or helps people do. I had no idea what I was getting myself into when I hopped on this call. Like I really had no idea what this guy did. And that's usually how it is when I hop on calls, dude. I am not the best brand curator. Let me tell you that. Like, I recommend my brand curators do their research and all that shit. And I don't do that because I'm pretty good on the spot and I can figure it out. But for them, they can't figure that stuff out. So Lee was like, dude, what would I have done? Like, if it was just me. And I was like, dude, the way you handled it is, hey, I'm not sure what the best fit for you is. And honestly, I don't want to give you the wrong answer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to review this call with Laura. And like, I just want to make sure me and my team are aligned with what the best fit for you is. And then we'll set up a follow-up to make sure it's a win-win situation because we only work with win-win situations. And if you're not 100% all in, we can't be 100% all in, right? So this has to be a win-win. If it's not a win-win, it's a lose-lose. And we just don't do that. Right? So it's setting your ground. I'm going to share my screen. And I'm gonna play it at 1.5.
What's up, John? Can you hear me?
Can you guys hear?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you. I just can't see your beautiful face. How are you doing today, my man?
How about that? There we go.
All right, there you are.
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Truly exceptional, my man. I woke up today, so I can't complain. I just want to intro you real quick to Lee. He's one of our brand curators in training, so he'll be kind of like just a fly on the wall for right now. Sound good?
Yep, that sounds good.
All right, sweet. Well, first off, John, I want to thank you for taking the time to hop on Zoom.
Cool. So built rapport right there, like super. Like we don't have to go into what's your favorite team, basketball team or whatever. Just like quick, how are you doing today, type of thing. I am teaching my brand curators to specifically say the words, I'm doing truly exceptional. I woke up today and I can't complain. I believe those words show the prospect the quality of person we are when it comes to gratitude. So that's why I'm trying to instill that specific word track with a how are you doing? Because it's really hard for someone to like hear that and be like, and like be in a shitty mood. Because the level of gratitude is expressed in such a way, in like a subconscious way, but a very in your face way as well. So I think it really sets the tone for the right people. For the wrong people, they might not get it. But then we're going into the agenda.
I'm super excited to share with you this new.
And this is an agenda for a re-offer campaign that we are running. So this is people that have had a strategy call with our team before, but for one reason or another, we did not do business together. So this is a re-offer. This guy was not even qualified for the re-offer. Okay, so just so you guys are aware the frame of the agenda.
New thing that I came up with. I know that you had a call with our team before, and we were like somewhat close to being able to partner on RevShare, but there were like some parts about your business infrastructure that wasn't fully built out yet. So just let me give you some context and really share the objective of this call. That sound good?
Yeah, that sounds fine.
Sweet. So we've been pretty much crushing it with our results-driven clients partnerships. So one of our clients, Kara, collected $25K in the first 3 weeks of working with us. Nicole collected $42K in cash and $100K in contracts in the first 30 days. And Andrea closed $20K cash and collected $20K in contracts in just 1 week. And this has all been on our organic traffic systems. It's been $0 spent on paid ads. And we used to only partner with companies that had the budgets to run paid ads. So we could get 8 to 12%, like what we discussed before. But because we didn't have the right sales systems already built out, to convert new clients, we couldn't really partner together for us to be able to help you, right? Because it just wasn't a good fit yet. And for us to be able to build that out for you, the price was $45K. And now we understand that some people, that's just not within their budget, right? So a lot of people had been coming to us and saying, hey, what if we just give you a higher rev share to help me build out the systems? And normally we would always just say no, but we have so many people just getting outstanding results in the first 30 days that now it just doesn't make sense not to. So now we're trying something new and partnering temporarily on a higher rev share in order to pay for the program and to build out the organic systems with you. So what we want to do on this call is really see what's changed in your business since the last time we spoke, and really determine if there's a good enough margin here for us to be able to partner on that higher rev share. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sure.
Cool. So tell me, where are we at with your business today?
Frankly, I don't know how much further I am from where I was. So where I'm at right now is I still get the odd client will call in. I had a meeting with a client this morning, and they might through the course of talking to them, most of the time what ends up happening for me is that my client, the person I'm talking to, is too busy to actually be in the meeting. This lady that I've been trying to talk to the last couple of weeks, I rescheduled with her 3 times because every time, the first time she forgot she had a doctor's appointment and double booked and had to cancel. Second time she forgot about the call, which is not a good sign that she urgently needs my services in any way. And then the second time, the time today, she basically, well, she was, it sounded like she was going to be grocery shopping or something. And so when I was talking to her, I basically said, it sounds like one of the things that you need help with is time management. And, would that be accurate? Yeah. Okay. I could definitely help you with that. However, you need to be able to have a meeting with me so that we can discuss it. Right. So she was like, oh yeah, thanks for being so patient. And I'll probably hear from her again. Maybe. But I left the door open. She sounded like she was amiable to that. That's really good. But that's kind of the way it sort of goes for me. I've only gotten to the point where I could tell somebody what I charge one time ever. And then this is crazy, right? I only get to the point where I can tell them what I charge one time, because a lot of the time the clients are people calling, they find me because they are too busy to write, and they're just like, they're at their wits end about their writing, but they don't put any time in, like they're not making any time to even freaking have a meeting with me. So this is really, really tough.
So this is where I was like, in my head, I was like, what the fuck is this guy selling? I had no idea what the fuck was his skill set. All I heard was writing. Okay. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, so you want to write with like experts and stuff like that. And then it takes a turn.
So, and I don't get many of those calls. So I don't know exactly how they're finding me, other than the fact that I have social media. I use later.com to post fairly regularly, for Twitter, which actually might stop depending on what's going on with this whole X thing, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, which actually might stop in the near future as well, because I haven't had any good returns. LinkedIn is I hate LinkedIn more than
why is that? Tell me more about that.
It's so terrible. LinkedIn, I'm gonna be really friendly.
Did you why is that? Tell me more about that. Because hate is a very strong word, yo. For someone to say, I hate LinkedIn, there's a big paradigm shift that has to happen for me and them to do business together, right? Because like LinkedIn is where you're gonna become a millionaire if you're not one already. Like for real. LinkedIn is the #1 B2B data source in the fucking world. Okay, so like you cannot have negative ill will towards LinkedIn. That's impossible for you to be successful in 2023.
Trying for this whole meeting because
I love it.
It's just the way it's going to be. LinkedIn is a giant business circle jerk with no actual essence. Like there's nothing valuable that comes from. I've never seen anybody with good credentials or anything really offered a job on there. The only people I see use LinkedIn are like generally the 2-bit marketing businesses that are starting out. I've never been messaged directly by anybody who seems professional. You know what I mean? I don't know how you guys found me, to be honest, anymore, but you guys seem okay.
We found you on LinkedIn.
Oh, that's shitty. I'm sorry. I never associated you guys. I never associated you guys with this problem. What I'm getting is it's people who are. It's like if my business was marketing instead of coaching, right? It's a 2-bit business that is like they have one product that they don't have really a lot of clients for, and they don't have a long history for, and people are, but then they're telling you, and this is the worst part, they want to charge you premium dollar, and they're telling you that they're the greatest, but they can't speak English a lot of the time, and so like and I'm not trying to be like. I get that you have to start somewhere, and I get that your starting point isn't always in Canada, but holy fuck, like have some, I don't know. There's got to be a better way than harassing people and some of the messages I've gotten. Anyway, so I hate LinkedIn for that. I could show you, and I don't really want to get into it, but I could show you, but it feels like, it doesn't feel like businesses, like you guys feel like a business. It feels like kids with a lawnmower trying to ask if they can mow your lawn. And I'm like, I don't really trust you to mow my lawn. Right? That's kind of where it's at. And so I get harassed by this all the time on LinkedIn, and it drives me crazy. And so there's that. And then it's people posting things that they apparently don't understand, concepts that are whatever. So anyway, so I hate LinkedIn. Hate it. I've never gotten a single client from LinkedIn. I've only gotten inundated with marketers that will never work with me, mostly. And then And then I guess you guys, but I didn't realize that you guys came through LinkedIn. But that's it. So I really, really hate LinkedIn, and I would prefer to get. I mean, if I could get clients through LinkedIn, that'd be great. But because I have like I think I have 4,800 people on my LinkedIn social, like on my thing, right? But I don't want to reach out to them like these people that I despise.
Well, these people are, let's call a spade, right? These people are just spamming.
They're spamming. That's why
Right.
it's not professional. It's horrible. It doesn't make me want to go with them. You know, I will turn them down, and then they'll come back like every 2 weeks or every couple of months. And I keep telling them, don't do this. I even post, don't ever do this, or I will not hire you. And they're processing me like cheese. You know, like I'm very clear about the fact that I don't want to deal with that. You know,
It seems like this is a lot of global talent too. Like based on what you're saying, it's not really US or Canadian based, or
no,
it's like somewhere else.
I feel like it comes in batches from classes that are, you know, those flash classes that you'll see often on Facebook and stuff like that. I feel like it's that.
Like a webinar type situation?
Yeah, something, because what's happening is I'll get a batch of them from, and they obviously are students of what they're doing, or like very amateur. I'll get a batch of them from like some very specific place in Africa or some very specific region of India. And I'll be like, so the last couple of times I'm like, okay, so I've gotten this pitch like 32 times. So I need you to tell.
So it's like straight copy and paste type
Pretty
of
much.
scenario.
Oh yeah,
Oh man.
And I will literally tell the last person. Well, I'll tell them off because I'm pissed. But I'll be like, I need you to tell your teacher to tell those students and everyone in your class for this. Oh, I'm not in a class. You are very clearly in a class, and I want you to tell everybody in your class that if they message me, I'm going to be a horrible person to them, and they're not going to do it anymore. So I want to deal with it. I want you to pass it around that I'm a horrible person. Do not work with me because I do not. I don't want to deal with this, right? And then
Yeah.
they kind of go off, and then I don't hear from anybody for a little bit, which is crazy, right? So that's what it is. I feel like, because like you said, it's a copy paste scenario. It's basically like the same method, the same whatever, and it comes in a batch on a burst. So they're all in the same class.
Yeah, I got you. All right, so you hate LinkedIn because of spammers, and
Yes,
all that's come in from there is just
What am I doing, guys?
Repeating what you said.
Active listening.
That's right, active listening.
That's all I'm doing, right? Because he needs to understand that I understand him better than he could ever understand himself. Listen to this.
not well targeted, not well curated people that just
I
want your
don't
money.
Yeah, I don't feel like it's really where my target would come from. Because again, it's
Who's the target? Let's talk about that. Who's the tribe that you serve, John?
so I kind of realized that although I'd really prefer to work with middle-aged people who have had a book for a long period of time. That middle-aged meaning like, you know, from 30 on, let's say 30 on, who have had a book that they've had in their mind and haven't figured out how to put pen to paper, and they have the money and the time to actually like use my services to do the thing that they need to do, to write the book.
How much money and how much time do they need to qualify?
Not so the time.
So did you see that little reaction from him? He didn't like the word qualify. That's what he reacted to. Like, these little things matter. That told me immediately he has no qualification process.
He hasn't clearly defined his avatar.
He hasn't clearly defined his avatar, and he works with everybody. That's why he's struggling. He doesn't know what problems he solves in the marketplace, right? Like,
if you put pen to paper once a week, I mean, like, I'm really shaving it down. If you really want to,
he's never fucking thought about this. He's never consciously thought about what does it take for someone to qualify to work with me so I don't take on headache clients. That shows me his development in entrepreneurship. He's willing to take anybody's money, right? That's a character flaw.
to be a good writer, you should write every single day. That's the way you go. You write every single day. Not everybody can do that. So if I really shave it down, we're on a routine. And
I could have totally fucked his whole life up and been like, why do people need you if they got ChatGPT? But I knew if I said that, I would have probably caused this guy to be a little bit suicidal. Like, he needs this. Like, he really needs this. This is his skill set. And I saw it in his face how much he needed this.
very least, but once a week would be, I would say, scraping the minimum. A couple of hours of just writing anything, and it can be complete garbage. Getting pen to paper, or fingers on keyboards for a couple of hours a week of writing would get you to a reasonable degree that eventually you would see the progress, and you should be able to make the time to do your every single day or your every other day and get a basic plot down within like 6 months. If you're following that same kind of thing and you get into the, like with coaching services, with, extra resources and stuff I could point towards, you should have a book within like a manuscript that could be edited within a year from the time you began to a year and a half. And that's very realistic.
Andrea, let's talk about how realistic this manuscript is. A year? Like, come on, dude. For a manuscript? Not realistic in 2023. I could have fucking jabbed him. I could have, but I didn't. Because if I would have jabbed him with the reality, he would have never been able to take the feedback. And like, we're only 13 minutes in. We shouldn't be coaching yet. We're still information gathering, right? We gotta load up our ammo.
Right. These programs. So I was suggested one time by a mentor that I had briefly to make 6-week courses or 6-session courses because they're bite-sized and they're trendy and they're what people like to hear. But that's garbage.
Not realistic.
It's not realistic. It's not going to be enough time for any. And I mean, if you figured out, if you were like, no, man, like this is the way that you sell these packages and this is how it has to go and whatever, if you could find a way that doesn't completely mislead the client, I'm down for however you want to chop it up. But when it really comes down to it, having a 6-week course will never help anyone. It'll get them.
So based on those words, I heard I'm looking for guidance. But I don't believe that's the right answer.
I agree. I don't agree with that stuff either. I believe in like providing the full transformational outcome, right? So what is your transformation? Is it they have a book ready or they have a manuscript ready?
I can literally work. So this is where I run into a bit of a problem. In my mind, as who I'm talking to are I have an idea, I don't know where to start people. Okay. That would be in an ideal world, the bread and butter of who I want to work with, because then I don't have to undo anything that's been done wrong. Right. But I could work with, if you said to me, I have a basic plot, I have no idea, like I want to start, or I've been writing a book, I have a few chapters, but I don't know where to go with it, things like that. I could still work with you. We would be kind of starting from the same starting point as person who doesn't have a plot, but you wouldn't necessarily realize that because.
Okay, let's talk about the ideal scenario. Ideal scenario is I've been wanting to write this book. I'm probably an expert at something and that's why I want to write the book, or I have some type of life experience where I want to write a memoir. Or does that sound about right?
I prefer to work with people wanting to write fiction, but if they do want to write a memoir, I could probably work with them because a memoir is written basically
fiction.
Yeah, a memoir is basically.
This is where like shit turned for me. I'm like, wait, what? He wants to write fiction books? There's no fucking money in that. He wants to go direct to consumer to write fiction books. Like that makes no sense to me logically if you want to make money. What is the fucking chance you get the next Game of Thrones? What is the next chance you get the next Harry Potter? No, like to me, logically, based on the information I had gathered up until this point, I was like, all right, this guy wants to make money with experts that want to fucking productize their knowledge through a book. That's the logical thing. And then he was like, wait, no, in an ideal scenario, I'm working with fiction. So here's where my head really started fucking, you could see the gears starting to turn. I'm like, who the fuck needs a fiction writer? And then I'm like, oh, gaming labs, MMOs, like World of Warcraft competitors. He had never seen this. Check this out.
He written like an essay, so it's not hard to write a memoir. You just want to make sure that you structure it in a very kind of point. These are how these points attribute to this one thing about me, and then eventually you have a bunch of points that kind of coalesce into this is why I'm so great. Right? That's the point of a memoir. So I can walk somebody through that, but that's boring as shit. And really, I prefer fiction, right?
That's boring as shit. I prefer fiction. This guy doesn't have a business. Someone sold him on the fact that he can turn his passion into his business, which is the biggest fucking lie. Like you can, but you will eventually resent your passion because your business has to make a lot of money and you have to work with people to get money. So it's like, how the fuck do I give this guy the perfect scenario for him to see it too?
So I can do it, but I don't want to have to unless, yeah.
Got it. So what type of fiction?
I mean, science fiction, fantasy.
What am I doing? Probing. What type of fiction? I'm still trying to figure this shit out in my head. Like I hadn't even landed on the end result. I'm like, okay, what type of fiction?
I'm working myself towards horror and stuff like that, but they're all kind of, I think I would struggle more with trying to help people with middle grade or with children's books and things like that, because although they're still pretty easy to do, a children's book, middle grade and children and youth and things like that, they have to be done in a certain way and have to be really fast paced and they have to be really, you can't have a lot of violence, or the way you do violence has to be special. And I want to throw blood around everywhere in my books, right? Like that's the way I kind of write the way I talk. I don't really like a lot of boundaries. So I could do it with a client. I'm not going to be as frank as I can be with you guys with a client necessarily, but it's one of those things. So children's books are kind of out, unless they were doing like literally like those ones that are like kangaroo socks, and then like it's all 7 pages with art and stuff like that. Like Clifford the Friendly Dog. If somebody was to write Clifford the Friendly Dog, I could help them with it, but I don't really want that to be my bread and butter. I'd rather it be fiction, fantasy, science fiction, like novels, actual novels.
So this is where I learned he's super fucking picky. He's super picky, but never thought about a qualification process. Like,
And how long have you been just focusing on this?
On the coaching side of it,
Yeah, on coaching specifically for fiction books.
ultimately, I think I was even when we spoke last, but I didn't realize it because I didn't want to close any doors. So, but now I'm just, I mean, zero clients is zero clients either way, right? So nothing is changing. It's just what needs to change is the way I market the product. So if I can be more specific, and I think I have to, then that's probably for the best. But I mean, I was leaving it open, and I was trying to learn about other types of writing and ways to coach people on those types of writing, so that I could have a larger thing. But I don't think I need that. I think I'm starting from the end rather than the beginning by doing that. So if that makes sense, I think I would like to stick with fiction and fantasy and like different types of, again, all those genres, horror and stuff like that, all the adult genres, they're all fiction. It's all fiction, right? So I would like to stick with fiction rather than do like middle grade or young adult, really, unless somebody specifically wants to do young adult. Stay away from children.
So like, give me an example of like your ideal book that you want to work on.
So my cousin was telling me about a book that I was actually trying to finagle my way into coaching her on. And so she was saying that she has this book that is a fantasy book. It's about it's kind of like an urban fantasy with fae and different things where the main character has to go into the fae world and interact with these fairy. I think they were fairies specifically, but it might have been more like, like fae is sort of a whole thing, right?
thank fucking God I was addicted to True Blood on HBO, because I would not have known what the fuck this guy was talking about if I had not watched that series, dude. Like, I was like, okay, fays, fairies, that's some fucking World of Warcraft shit. So I was able, thank God. Like, I love that show. That was a good show.
Right.
And wanting to work with his cousin too. Like, what a disaster. I will never work with family or friends
I didn't
again.
catch that.
Just
I didn't
learn
catch
that
that.
from-
I thought he said his cousin connected him to someone that was writing a book. I didn't, like, I just heard that just now.
Yeah, like don't do that. Everybody just PSA, I've done it enough. Like it never, there's never been a time it's worked out. So
That's funny. All right.
The larger, anyway, she's dealing with all that, and the fate of the world is dependent on the actions of these people, these fae people in the other realm, and depending on how they do their upkeep in their world, it keeps the structure of our world together. And I was like, that's a really interesting concept. And the way she had her characters and the way she had everything was really interesting. I'm like, we should work on this book. Let me help you get this book like published. And she was like, oh, I don't know, because she just had a second baby in the last 3 years, so she's kind of like tired and busy, so she doesn't really want to write this book. But that would have been the ideal book right there, right? Like it's fantasy. It's not really young. Like it's again, young adults, basically just what you would write for an adult, but it's just faster paced and a little bit toned down concepts for certain things. But generally speaking, it's the same, just faster paced, right? That I can handle.
I gotcha. I understand. I think I understand more. This is what concerns me, John.
Yeah.
You know what? Before I tell you what concerns me, you tell me. Tell me what, like, let's say
I was about to coach his ass, right? But then I'm like, wait, there's one more thing I need to know.
she would have been down to do this, right? In a perfect world, she would have been down to partner up with you. How much would you have charged her to get that book published?
For my cousin, I don't know. That would have been tough, but I would like to charge the average person $150 an hour. That's what.
$150 an hour, dude. My mind went, this guy has no self-value. Nothing at all.
I would like.
All right. I gotcha.
And he said in an ideal world. In an ideal world, I want $150 an hour.
Yeah, and I originally thought about it like there's got to be a way. So that, and the reason why 150 is because if I was to do a year and say $5,000 for a year, it's a discount. If I was to say 6 months for 1,200 or something, it's a discount, and I'm still making decent money because people don't always call you once a week. Like they don't. If you say I'll be open for you to call me at any time, you have to schedule the appointments. They still don't really want to do it. Right. So I would have to follow up sometimes for sure, just to be like, listen, like this is the point of the coaching. But at the same time, I don't feel like I would be abused for the amount of hours. I feel like people would more often slump it and I would have to follow up with that.
I think, John, you're going to get abused. I think you're going to burn out. Like, dude, I think you're not giving yourself enough credit. I'll be real with you.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my concerns. I think your skill sets are great. I think there's a market for this, but I don't think it's the market that you're focusing on.
Okay, so what do you think I should do? Because that's really when I keep meeting with you people, like not you specifically,
Us people,
marketing people. I met with you in one other company ever, and it's when I meet with marketing people, they always tell me that.
I don't know what happened here, but like I couldn't hear him at all. They always tell me that, and it goes on for a little bit. I have no idea what they always tell him.
I am completely frustrated. And I need my biggest problem here is that I need you to tell me what to do.
I know.
I have the skills, but I am not a marketing expert. So that is why I don't sell anything, right? So, I mean, tell me what you think I need to do, and I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, so I think you're in the wrong market, right? I don't think your market is books. I think you should go to gaming studios. I think you should, yeah, that's where my head's at. Because so there's this whole, I don't know how well versed you are on this whole like Web3 play, MMOs, but they have this big challenge in creating storylines around their games, right? They don't have the World of Warcraft storyline, but they need help getting that level of fan loyalty, essentially. You know what I'm saying? You follow where I'm at?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's where my head's at. It sounds like that's actually your passion, right? Like that storyline, that type of environment. And there are gaming studios looking for people like you. And guess what? You're not going to get abused by them. They're going to pay you $150,000 a year to work with them for 12 months. Like, but you have to have clear outcomes, clear transformational, tangible outcomes, right? I wouldn't suggest you go out and approach them today because you got to reverse engineer what they want.
Yeah.
You know, so I would recommend, John, you go and interview the creative directors or whoever the head of story is at gaming studios.
Okay. I don't know how you approach those people. I've never even considered doing this.
Yeah, I know this is like something new, and I know you might not even like it. I don't know, but I think the market that you're currently at is not a good one for you, and you're going to starve.
Okay. Yeah, it was actually suggested to me by, again, that mentor, because I wanted to write, and he was like, "Why don't you turn your writing, the skills you've learned through writing, into a marketable thing?" I was like, "Oh, I guess I could do that." And I know that some people do sell those skills, but I don't have the budget to do so many things, right? So yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think your mentor said it like to put you in a bad situation or anything. I just don't think they were aware of the market.
Yeah.
Right. Like the feedback I don't know the market either, but what I'm listening to you say of your personal experience, right? That's what I'm hearing. Like these people aren't fucking serious.
Yeah.
Right. Like you need to go to where people are serious about creating story.
Yeah. Yeah. And that sounds like gaming. So where would you suggest well, I guess I have multiple questions. Where would you suggest I get started?
LinkedIn.
Oh my,
I promise you that's where you'll become a millionaire, dude.
oh my God, I hate LinkedIn. Okay.
I know. So that's a concern for me, right? It's like you hate LinkedIn because you've been spammed, but like obviously you're not going to take the same approach as those people.
Yeah. Well, that's the reason I don't reach out to people is I was hoping that I could get organic clientele somehow, because I don't like the idea when I go into a store, I don't want people swarming me. I want to know that they're there. You know, tell me you're there, keep an eye, or be available at least. But I don't swarm me. Let me look at things, and then I will come to you and say, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I don't see. Get me set up with these things, right? And then they get I get my help when I need the help.
Got it.
But
I understand what you're saying.
Right.
So what I would say about that is it's how you use LinkedIn. It's not I hate LinkedIn and the platform sucks because it doesn't, right? Let's say you have amazing content, right? Which I'm sure you do, right? Your content gets posted on LinkedIn. All right, it's mediocre. All right, well, not based on this example. You have amazing content, John.
Right, I have amazing content.
Self-deprecating. He called himself mediocre. If you believe if you're a content writer and you say your content is mediocre, dude, what the fuck? Right? Like that is what is going on up here is the real question.
Who wants a coach that's mediocre to help them?
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
I feel like that's a common objection. Like people are hesitant to, like, they want to feel aligned. They don't want to do things they don't want to do. Like, do you hear that often?
Dude, that's all we hear.
Yeah.
Like, that's all we hear. And it's our moral obligation to be like, what does alignment mean to you? Right? We got to get clarity and then bring them to reality.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want to do outbound. Well, how are you going to get distribution?
Yeah.
That's what's about to happen.
That's what we hear it all the time. That's what we're pitching social media to people all the time. And nobody likes social media. I mean, let's be honest. So the thing is, people have done it, but they haven't done it the right way. So if you teach them to do it the right way, they're probably also going to be spending less time and getting more results. So that's whatever it is. It doesn't have to be social media. It could be whatever it is you're doing. He's coaching for this content thing, or you're coaching for upscaling your business, or whatever it is. Just because they've done it before doesn't mean this time it won't work, because this time you're going to take a different approach. So, I mean, believe me, everybody takes a step back on the social media thing, but guess what? We keep selling it. So,
right. Because it works, dude.
Yeah.
It works. It's not social media. Social media is a tool. Right? It's just a tool. It's a distribution tool. If your content sucks and is mediocre, guess what you're amplifying? Mediocrity, right? So we got to work on ourselves to make sure we pump out good content, right? We got to understand the avatar to make sure that the content resonates with them. But check this out.
and you're posting it on LinkedIn, but guess what, right? The content's great, but there's no distribution, right? Same thing that when you're publishing a book, if there's no distribution and the book is amazing, what happens? The book dies without anybody knowing about it, right? So there's a reason why you need to connect with people. Maybe don't go out, connect with them and message them a pitch right away. I don't recommend that, right? I would not recommend that at all.
Yeah.
But connecting with the people at your specific niche, right? The people, the decision makers on whatever niche you want to focus on. I recommend the gating niche. I think it's really best suited for your skill sets and your passion. I think it really aligns perfectly based on what you're telling me right now. And then you connect with these people, you have them as connections, and as you're posting, great.
Did you guys hear the key words I'm using? He mentioned passion is important. He mentioned alignment. Like I'm tying it all back to active listening, right? And putting him on the right path.
Great content, which you should be posting great content, John, because you're a writer. So like it makes sense. They will see it, and they like the more consistent you are with it, the more people are going to be like, oh, this guy John, he knows what the fuck he's talking about. He's actually really good at creating these arcs, right? The hero's journey is beautiful with this guy. Maybe he could help us write something here. Right? There's challenges that their creative teams are facing every single day that you would know better than I would, right? I am able to identify, like once somebody identifies the challenge, I can turn that challenge into a marketable message, right? Without it being spammy, without it feeling salesy or anything like that, right? That's my skill set, right? But I'm not the one that's going to go out and like survey your market for you to find out what are these pain points. No, John's going to have to do that work, can come back to Laura, and Laura be like, all right, John, you got to word it like this, and this is how we're going to for sure book appointments, and we're going to get qualified people into your pipeline so we can sell them a $150,000 product of working with you.
Okay. So you're talking.
I just mind fucked him. He wasn't ready for this. He is so confused. And this is where he becomes the most vulnerable.
With footwork, which I don't understand. I've been told many times, like, oh, well, all you have to do is, let me tell you about that sentence. Anything that starts with all you got to do is not
all you got to do.
All you got to do. Right? So I'm autistic. Like my learning curve is a square. I'm not good at it until I'm amazing at it, and there's no in between. That's the way it works. Like I have to completely not understand and put it all together before I can even begin. You know, so
I'm on the spectrum as well, just so you know.
Okay, so like you know as well as you feel me when I'm saying, like, as soon as somebody's like, oh well, all you got to do is learn a completely new skill set from scratch and do like a ton of that, and then somebody else with a similar skill set may be able to help you at that. That exhausts me. That even the concept of that is like I just wanted to write books.
So he just explained to me that the concept of life is exhausting to him. Life is all about learning skill sets and leveraging skill sets and aligning with other people that have other skill sets. He just told me life is exhausting. This is a major red flag. Like, this is insanely like fucking fire alarms type shit. Like, this is tough. And this, like, we're only halfway into the call.
I just wanted to write books, and then this was to help me fund that, and also like have a job during the pandemic initially. So now where I'm at is I have a job, and I could just write my books and do that thing, and then see how that goes. And then hopefully, if my books are any good, that content you're talking about that I have that I could point to will be created. It's a long game, but I would have it. But in terms of how do I figure out how to make memeable, tiny social media content, I post other people's memes right now. Like I go on Imgur, find a bunch of memes, make comments on them, and then put at the bottom, you know, I help coach people.
I have no idea why he got stuck on memes or how memes came up, because I did not bring up memes at all. I don't even know how this came up.
Or buy my book or whatever the case is. And I put that out there, and then I pay for BookBrush to make me some, I don't know what you call them, but they basically look like your book on a background. And then I just say, oh, get me your copy of my book now, or whatever. That's the level that I'm at. That's where I'm at. So anything beyond that, if I don't know anything beyond that, that's the problem. That's what I'm running into. And if I have to learn it more than, not so much like, I don't have the time to take a media course. So if I have to do a crazy amount of legwork to sell the secondary skills so that I can do a thing, I like, you see where I'm at right now, right? Like, yeah, like even working this is exhausting. And I don't know what to do about that. That's why I keep trying to reach out to companies like your company, another company, you know, whoever. Sometimes anyway, it doesn't even matter. But that's why I keep reaching out and saying, listen, I don't know what I'm doing. I definitely need the help. Oh, something happened to my camera.
Yeah, I don't know. I just shut off. But I can hear you.
Okay, but that's where I came. Where I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I definitely need the help, and it would be very helpful to. It would be great to have somebody come and do that, and I will pay like literally out the ass in fees, like if I can get that help. But I am not a marketing person, so that keeping that in mind, and I'm not saying that I'm going to find anybody else willing to.
He thinks he qualifies for some type of rev share. He said, I'm willing to pay fees. Out the ass. That's the most dangerous thing. I don't want 50%, 80. You know, people offer me 80% of their business just to help them. That's insane.
To do it. This isn't like a play. But keeping this all in mind, what are you asking me to do when you're saying, John, go out into the world and something? Because
I'm not asking you to do anything. I'm not asking you to do anything, but that's what if you want to conquer this new market, you're going to have to learn how to interview people and ask them questions about where their most urgent, painful problems. And then you have to figure out how your skill sets align with solving those problems. And that's how people pay money, right? That's how you create value in the world. And you deserve to be compensated based on the value you create. You deserve to be paid a percentage of the value, right?
Yeah.
Right. So what it sounds like to me, John, is that, based on what you're telling me, you might just not be cut out for business building, right? Because for you to be a successful entrepreneur, you have to understand sales and you have to understand marketing. There's no successful entrepreneur out there that doesn't understand those two things, right? It's either you get these skills and you build these skills up like a muscle, right? You train them, you do your reps, and that's how you become the person that you say you want to be, right? Or you don't, right? Like it's that simple. It's either you acquire the skills necessary to be the person that you say you want to be, or you don't, and you don't change and you stay the same. And that's up to you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just telling you what has to happen, like for your skills. Like you're in the wrong market, right? You're not with the right people. They're not going to pay you money because they have no sense of urgency based on what you were telling me, John. I know gaming studios that have a sense of urgency because guess what? They've raised millions of dollars and people want to get paid.
Yeah.
And they're not going to get paid unless it's a good fucking game with a good story. You know of a game that's successful with a bad storyline?
Yeah. No, it's a good point. I don't know how I'm going to do that. I don't know how I'm going to do that. So when I find it, like the only reason I even reach out to companies like yourself is because I don't know what I'm doing. So what I'm running into is
he's begging for a pitch. Like he is just begging for me to put him on a product.
Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I just don't know.
Look, John, this is like I could put you into a coaching program that you could afford to work with me, but like I don't feel like you would do the work. So that would be a lose-lose situation, right? Like I called
the spade the nicest way I possibly could. I could sell you something and take your money, but I don't think you're going to do the work, buddy.
Wouldn't even want to do that to you if I didn't know 100% that you were committed to the person who you say you want to be.
Yeah, but I don't even understand what your coaching program would include or how that would direct me.
I mean, we're not there yet. Like yeah, no, for sure. And like, I don't think we're there yet, right? Like I would only present that option to you if I knew you were 100% a good fit. And right now I'm like 50-50. Like I don't 100% know that this would be a win-win.
What am I doing?
In a way.
What? What'd you say, Patty? I couldn't hear you.
I said, you're taking it away.
I never even presented.
Well, yeah, but he thinks he's getting panicked.
I wouldn't even call this a takeaway. I would like, yeah, it kind of is, but like I never presented. So it's not a real takeaway. I would say this is me staying in my power zone. This is me setting my boundaries. This is me respecting my own core values. I don't believe in selling somebody something I don't know for a fact they're going to be successful with. And it's all here. His words alone on how he describes himself tells me everything about him. And I tell him the honest truth. I did not lie to him. I'm being real as fuck with this guy in the nicest way I could possibly be, because I know I have an employee watching me. I know that I am somebody's role model. So I have to be my highest self. Again, I'm being completely vulnerable and honest with you guys. If I was alone on this call, I probably would not have handled it with as much grace and ease as I did. For real. Like, and I'm being just honest, entrepreneur to entrepreneur with you guys. Right? But I knew I had to show the fuck up for Lee to learn how to deal with these people, because guess what? We DQ 99% of the people we talk to. So they need to know how to talk to people with grace and ease. EB?
Yeah, you in respecting your own boundaries and setting your own self and knowing that this guy is like totally anywhere near, I mean, he's not even ready to be an entrepreneur, much less be ready for this program. I mean, he's got so much work to do. Oh my God. But but you also didn't close the door in his face. And that is a really big deal. You don't know who he knows. And you don't know what's going to happen down the line. And you were your highest self and you did what you needed to do for you, but you also left the door open for him and you gave him a hope. And you may not have had that as a goal during this call, but that doesn't matter. You gave him something, a direction. Even if he takes it or doesn't take it, that's all on him. But you never know, and you didn't close the door in his face. And I think that that is a really important thing to point out. You were very good at being really good to yourself, really with your own boundaries, really with your own stuff. You took time that you wouldn't have taken if you didn't have somebody that was watching you, right? So you had to be your highest self. You said that several times. But Laura, you are your highest self, no matter whether somebody's watching you or not. You do the best that you can do at the time, all the time, right? It doesn't matter if somebody's watching you. You gave that guy, you opened the door, you gave him something. And at the same time, you were able to keep your own power and your own boundaries and your own stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on in this call, but I am seeing a lot of really good stuff.
Thank you. Thank you for the amazing praises. I want everybody here to learn from my mistakes. There was a point in time where I allowed people to shut the door on other people. I didn't follow my own core values and I was not instilling it in my own business. And guess what? It fucking bit me in the ass, right? Me looking the other way was never the fucking right answer. And guess what? We lost a lot of money. We left a lot of money on the table. Now we push more people away than ever before because they have to be the right fit. This has to be a win-win situation. I let people on my sales team get their fucking stinky ass commission breath and cloud their own judgment on who's a good fit. Right? But I'm all in regardless. I'm always 100% all in if someone shows me they're all in, and people show me they're all in through money. Right? So, Evie, go ahead.
What service would you really have done him by giving him anything? You wouldn't have. If you accepted him into any program, that would have been a complete disservice to him.
Well,
not to you, but a disservice to him. He's not ready.
Right.
And it would have caused anxiety. It would have caused panic. It would have caused even worse self-depreciation because he already does not have his self-care in a place where he's going to even be able to be an entrepreneur. He is not there yet.
So, just so you guys know, I did offer something, but there was a lot of contingencies involved with it. Right? It wasn't buy this right now. It will never be that vibe. Right? Like, so we'll just hit play.
One situation. You get what I'm saying? So like, I think you got to go reflect on like for yourself and figure out what you really want, right? Like I just dropped a whole new market, a whole new problem to solve with your skill sets on you because I see it, because I have a different skill than you, right? Like I'm giving that to you for free. Like you're lucky you got on a call with me and not Lee, right? Because Lee doesn't know how to talk to people this way yet, right? He doesn't see what I see in the market. You feel me? So like,
no, I really do appreciate the advice. It's something to think about. But again, so as somebody who's on the spectrum, you realize the bombshell that you just put me into, and me having to process that is a lot.
That's what I'm saying. Like
he's fucking complaining that I just fucking gave him gold. That shows his level of personal development. He's screaming how fucking unqualified he is.
You got to sit down and like meditate and like take that shit in, dude.
Yeah. And then the other thing, so I'm not against working towards something, but I don't want to, you know, when you go to school and you take, I don't know how many times you went to school. I went to school like 4 times. Right. And every single time it would be, it was a little bit.
I was so confused by this. I did not understand what the fuck he meant by I went to school 4 times. Like I didn't understand if he was trying to tell me he was homeschooled or like what. I didn't get it.
Possible to finish for different reasons. Mostly
Sounds
money.
like you restarted it and started different degree programs like I did.
Continue with, so last time I was taking archaeology. I'm still going to finish for anthropology because that's the bachelor is ultimately anthropology. And I love anthropology and I will finish. It's just expensive. But pending money.
Oh, you're talking about higher education, not all right. So I never graduated. Like I have no bachelor's degree or anything. Like I graduated high school barely, and I fucking went straight into business and sales. Like I got a job at a car dealership and I went commission only. So
Yeah.
I literally had no option, dude. My family was broke as fuck. Like I had no option to go to university, and
it's amazing.
I didn't learn in that
I was
plane
like,
either.
no.
Dude, they said I was fucking stupid as fuck. Like
Yeah,
and I
it's-
wasn't. I just
it's what
wasn't
they do.
interested. Yeah.
Well, where I was going with that is that if I wanted to be an archaeologist, you start at 20. That's how archaeology should go. You start at 20, you work your way up through doing hard labor, basically, and in very shitty circumstances. And eventually, after many abusive bosses, you find your way to doing good digs that you might run. And then maybe you get to be, like one of the main assistants to a professor doing an important dig of some significance on a good team. That whole process is like a 10-year process that you have to start, 10, 15 even, that you have to start early because it takes 10, 15 years. You still need to be able to have a back in order to do this hard labor, okay, by the time you finish. So when I started was 3 years ago. I'm 40 now, okay? So I was like, that's not going to happen. I'll fucking die before I even get a professorship or something, right? Like there's no point. So doing archaeology, there's no point. Anthropology, which I love, I'm still going to plan to finish. I have a drive to finish the things that I love. I wrote my book, right? I do have a drive to finish the things that I care about, the things that I love, without any compensation. I do have a drive to finish things that will actually pay off if I know they're going to pay off. But if it's some hazy place in the middle where it's like the and I realize I get the business model of why people do this. But last time in the meeting that I was talking with, whoever I was speaking with at that time, the way it was kind of presented was, well, how are we supposed to be able to help somebody, maybe that product doesn't sell. That's right. Maybe that product doesn't sell. That's why I, as the business owner on my side, can't invest 10 grand or, whatever the case is to do this when I don't even have 10 grand just lying around or squeezable from any location, trying to afford somebody that can't make any promises. And then whatever, like that's sketchy at best for a small time business. So when that's kind of where I'm at with a lot of these things. If we're building a plan and me learning a skill will directly lead to some part of that plan, that's one thing, right? But if it's just like I've literally been told, just go off into the world and learn a skill that'll help you, and just go do this thing, and it's not enough. I actually genuinely need a little bit more guidance in that, and so that's why I'm constantly like even bothering to hire anybody that's in the marketing field. So from that point, like that, maybe that doesn't help you at all, but that's where
you're lost. You feel lost. You feel confused, right? You understand you're a business owner, but you don't know how to really build a business. Right.
Because you didn't say, you said, go out. You did unintentionally what everybody does to me all the fucking time is go out and learn some marketing skills.
I did not say that. I did not say that, John. I said go out and interview creative directors at gaming studios. I gave you very specific instructions.
Okay, so where do you learn?
I did not say go out into the ether. You know what I'm saying?
But you kind of did. Where do I learn to interview directors?
He's not willing to take ownership. This guy has zero accountability for himself. I did not tell him what he said. I told him. Did you guys hear me say that? I was very, very specific, and I'm specific for a reason. I know that people are playing him. I know people are playing everybody. There's a reason why I'm so intentional in the way I talk to people, because I want them to have something to take away after our conversations. I really pride myself in what I've been able to learn. Like, I kind of even want to cry a little bit. Like, it sucks that for me to know that this guy got that out of our conversation, because that was not my intention whatsoever. Evie?
It's not on you, man. He has a belief that he has to be taught to do everything. He has a faith and a belief in the education process that is unwarranted, but that is also taught to the majority of at least American culture. If you don't have a degree and you don't have letters behind your name, you're not qualified to do these things. He has a belief in that system. He believes it with the core of his being. So for you to tell him to go interview somebody, well, he doesn't have that instruction. He doesn't have that teaching. He doesn't have those qualifications. He can't do that. It's not a matter of he doesn't take ownership. You're right, he doesn't. But it's because he's been taught that he can't. This guy is so far behind, you can't even see where he is. He's so far behind. And I get it that he's on the spectrum, but that does not explain his buy into societal conditioning to the level at which he has taken it in. And I feel for him very, very much. But he's so far behind he can't even see entrepreneurship, much less be there. It's not going to happen.
I hope it does.
I hope it does too.
Like,
But
I really do. I pray for this guy.
yes.
Like, for real. Because with the, like, if nothing changes, which this is the second time someone at Viral Growth Media has spoken to him and nothing has changed in over 90 days. What's going to change? Nothing. If nothing changes, nothing changes.
You really did give him the very best bit of advice that you could have possibly given him. And
We're
that's
still not done with the call.
and he may not be able to bring himself to believe that he can do that, but it really was the best way for him to go.
You got to watch Laura's Magic.
We're not even done with the call. All right, I'll press play.
Of video game companies. Where do you even begin with that? Do you see what I'm saying?
I know exactly how to do that, right?
Right.
Because I've literally gone to markets like that I had no idea about. And I never believe on imposing my beliefs onto a market because that's not how markets work.
Mhm.
You have to listen to the market. So that means you have to ask curious questions, right? So think about it. You're a writer, right? What are curious questions to ask an ideal avatar to understand their most urgent, painful problems?
I've always run into that. Like even my mentor used to say, like, you have to find the pain points, but I don't know what that means. I don't know how to address that. And I know I have a general concept of it, but my general concept of it is like asking a 9-year-old about sex.
I gotcha.
So I'm grasping at the fucking edge of my understanding of this stuff. Just to
So you don't know how to isolate pain.
No,
What you're saying.
I don't even know where to begin with any of this shit. So what you're asking me to do is learn a thing, to learn a thing, to learn a thing, to do a thing.
Yep. That's exactly what it is. You're right.
Where do
You
I
have to
find the
learn a
first
bunch of
thing?
things.
That's
So we have a program, I think it's like $1,000 or something like that. It's a course that walks you through that. And you get access to me, I think, what is it, Lee? I think it's like once a week for 4 weeks with this $1,000 investment, right? And we give you a complete go-to-market strategy. So this is legit the interviewing process and then turning the interviewing process into actual sales calls for you to solve the problems. Because you can't go to a market without interviewing the market first.
Mm-hmm.
That's impossible because then you don't know what their pain points are, which sounds like it's what people have told you to do.
Yeah, they might as well have told me to. They might as well have told me instructions in another language because I don't understand. Right. So
which marketing and sales is a whole nother world, dude.
Yeah.
Like that's the reality of it. Marketing and sales is an entirely different world, which you should have some type of familiar. I don't even know.
Familiar,
You might be familiar, yeah, with the persuasion aspect of it, right? Because you're essentially a copywriter. You're a writer, right? So you got to have some levels of persuasion involved in your writing. So it's really taking a lot of the main principles of writing and turning it into a sales and marketing lens. Is essentially that's hard. So you have more skill sets than most of the people I talk to. It's just about channeling those skill sets with the right information. So what it sounds like is that you've been giving the wrong data sets, so you have the wrong information on things, and that's why the shit is not working out for you, right? You're going into the wrong market. You're like it's just an overall wrong approach, and you already have limiting beliefs around the platforms that are going to make you the most money, which is also a concern for me.
don't get me wrong. So I can complain all day about LinkedIn just because my experiences were so sour there, but I haven't left LinkedIn. I haven't deleted my account. I haven't told anybody on there that was a potential client that I don't want to deal with them. I haven't. I mean, you can look me up. It's not a lot of bullshit that I'm telling you right now. It's I've left it open, but my experience has been to date not great. And when you look at some of the articles and stuff that people put on there, my opinion isn't elevated by the shit that they're doing. Let's just say it like that. They're just it's whatever. But I agree that you can turn any kind of piece of shit, just like like writing a story, you can turn any kind of piece of garbage into a glowing, beautiful story. It's how you rework it. It's how you present it. It's how you, because storytelling probably a lot like marketing from basically what I'm gathering, even in just our conversation, storytelling is like language. It has to be done in a very specific way. And if you don't do it in that way, if you try to reinvent the wheel, it doesn't work because people don't understand it. You can't get inside their head with made up. I've met people that are like, I don't want to write a story the way they've always been written. I'm like, then you're not like
going to be successful.
You're not going to be successful. Children will allow where the wild things are. Adults don't allow that. Okay. So you have to have a plot and you have to have engaging characters and they have to have stakes and it has to be a certain way. And if you don't do it that way, often with a B plot, so that B plot is either a buddy, like a reflective foil or a love story or something. If you don't have those elements together playing out in a certain kind of dance, it's not going to work. So you got to do it, period. And I get that that's kind of what I think that feels like what you're telling me now, but again, it's tough because the advice that people give me is go into the world, find pain points.
Right, like what the fuck are pain points? Like I get what you're saying, and it's because you have the wrong information, right? That's all it is. So this is where I'm at, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where I'm at is like I'm still 50-50. Like I want to present you with this offer just because I know it'll get you to where you want to go, but I don't want to present it with you or to you if you're not going to be 110% all in.
So my only hang up My
And
two
I have
hangups
7
right
minutes
now.
left, by the way. I have 7 minutes left.
My two hangups are this. One is I'm one.
Real quick, what just happened?
You gave him a time
This is
limit?
when he starts. Sorry,
You're okay.
go ahead.
Oh, I just said you gave him a time limit.
Well, yeah, dude, I went over an hour with this guy. I'm like, dude, I got 7 minutes. Like, let's speed it because I know this guy was not a fucking sale on the spot, right? Greta, what were you saying?
So you gave him the time limit, but he also, this is where he starts to sell himself. You know, you're taking it away.
Qualify. He has to qualify
Mhm.
himself to me because this is where I'm at, John. I'm 50-50. And it's because of you, not the product.
Wondering if this was the original offer, but we
No,
made our maker.
it was not.
Okay. So that's A, but I guess that's not the case. B is money. I have the money now because I have a bit better job, but getting the money together is going to take me 6 months. It's not going to be tomorrow because there's a few things I have to do before I can start spending $1,000 on like reinvesting in my business right now. That way. So
So you're saying the $1,000 up front is too much, right? Like that's what you're saying?
just right now, like again, it's a matter of I got a better job recently. So I was dealing cards, and dealing cards pays well, but I wasn't getting the hours. And just now I've recently got a steady job. Like I get 5 days a week and I get a decent pay for those 5 days a week. So now I'm going to be able to feel the stability that I didn't have before. But I have to, because I was working kind of on a little bit of a deficit where things are all crazy. I have to build that. So now that I'm kind of laying foundations, that's going to take me a few months. And I want to say 6 to be generous. I can maybe do it in 3 to 4, but that's where I'm at. So that $1,000 would be not, it's worth it. It's worth it to the business to invest, but I literally don't have the cash now. So that's
I gotcha.
Yeah.
I get it, and that's cool. There's a payment plan option involved with it. I don't know what it is off the top of my head.
Okay.
But it's pretty much like, dude, we're here to help people. Like, it's not about like give me your fucking money and you're alone, right? Like these types of conversations happen once a week in this specific scenario.
Right.
Right. It's just in a group setting, right? So everybody learns off of each other, which is super fucking amazing. I'll send you the link in the chat so you can check it out. And then
could you email it to me just so I don't lose it?
I will
I
email
got
it to you once we hop off the call. I'll send you over more stuff on that. But it's essentially we're turning all your social media into content creation to attract leads and clients organically. That's the whole objective. It's called our organic domination toolkit, right? And as a bonus, I add 4 sessions with me.
Okay.
In a group setting, right?
Yeah.
So, and the main goal of it is LinkedIn, but you have to showcase your expertise all over the internet, right? We consider all social media digital real estate, and you need to have your real estate showcasing how fucking awesome you are at creating these types of stories.
But
okay, because
will show me that?
Yeah. We got a 14-day challenge with it. We audit all the content you make. So my COO Coral, you submit over all your links, and she'll actually audit your stuff to make sure it's appealing to who you say your target audience is. Which, based on this call, I recommend it's gaming studios.
Okay.
So I just want you to be aware that this type of program is manual labor. This is not a lot of automation, nothing like that. There's a next level after this program where we help you automate everything and build a team so you're not stuck doing the day-to-day stuff. I don't think you're there yet. That was what this conversation was originally for, because we have a new offer with that. It's a rev share offer with that, which we've never rolled out before. I don't think you're there yet. I think you need to put in the groundwork, do the manual labor first, and then after you're bringing in some contracts, and I'm telling you, dude, you can get $150,000 contracts from the gaming studios.
Yeah.
Like they got the fucking budget and they need the transformation. They cannot pay the people that invested into them without this transformation. And this is like, dude, creative is what makes or breaks video games. Okay, that's just the reality of the situation. So I want you to check it out. And dude, no fucking pressure here, dude. Like whenever you fucking feel you're ready, if you think this is the right solution for you, and you have to be 110% all in. Because if you're not, don't fucking buy it. I don't want your money, dude. I don't want to work with you. Be real. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Okay, John?
Yeah, no, of course. No, I'm not gonna bother. It's too much money to spend if I'm not doing it, right? It's a matter of I have to, like I said, I wasn't gonna try to squeeze the money out of nothing. Like I can literally stop paying a bill and get this $1,000 in, and then we could do it. But like that's not productive.
I wouldn't want to put you in a scarcity. I wouldn't even recommend that, John.
Of course I wouldn't do that, right? But what I'm saying is my mindset is where you're hoping that it is. It's just that I'm processing it slower probably than you. Anyway,
my mindset is where you're hoping that it is. It is so not. Like it is, dude. And then he gives another excuse.
My mindset's where you think it should be. If you're training me to do the thing that people have been telling me to go out into the world, just do. That's what I needed. So I can do that. But eventually, it would be nice to get to the point where that 25% rev share situation.
I hate when people say but after fucking saying something. But this, but that, but this. But is not, nobody here should be saying but. Nobody. Seriously. It's like a pet peeve for me. I said the word
But kick butt's okay though.
Yeah, kick ass. No kick butt.
Yeah. Okay, kick ass.
Situation where like if I'm making money, then you make money. But if I'm not making money, then I'm not paying out the ass for marketing. That would be ideal because That's all that I really wanted to do from the beginning. And it's just because I run on my whole budget is based on my day job, right?
Mhm.
And it'd be nice to bring some money in, but I need to bring some money in to bring some money in. Because
Yeah,
otherwise
you're just
it's
not there yet. That conversation is for people that have a proven product that could be scalable, and we help them turn it into scalability.
Right.
So we're just not there yet. I think this is the best solution for you. And like, dude, again, no high pressure sales tactics here. Like, I don't believe in that shit. But like, you have to be all in so I can be all in with you, because I can't be all in for you.
No, of course not.
All right, my man. Any last questions before we hop off?
No. So the link that you gave me, I can just use when I feel that I'm ready to do it. You said there's also a payment plan that I can discover before having to, because like
I
bill
think
and the
you have
money
to
are
click
different.
the link. Yeah. So you click the link that says yes, I want this, or the button.
Yeah.
You can get it for $9.97 if you pay it up front. But if you do a payment plan, I think you have to enter your information, then go to step 2 to see the payment options. I don't know off the top of my head what they are. I think it might be $400 a month or something like that.
Oh, okay.
I'm not really sure. You'd have to check that out yourself. But yeah, man. Any other questions? Because I gotta go.
No, I just wanted to know if I could find out the payment plan before having to commit, or if you're kind of like, don't even touch it until you have the money. It's because
No, dude, you can. All you have to do is fill out your information. There's no commitment until you put a credit card in and hit next,
Okay.
right? But you say mental commitment's there, so that's what makes me feel better about this. And there's a payment plan that I'm sure will fit your needs. But again, like 110% all in, and like you got to make the commitment to yourself of, look, I'm gonna look for solutions, not excuses.
Yeah, but I'm not looking for those solutions on Google by myself with no mentor.
No, exactly, for
Right,
sure.
and that's where that apprehension is what you're hearing, is because I am not going to go on Google and just go find all these solutions without any direction. I'm not going to do that. So like, if you're giving me the direction,
What does that say about him?
He wants his hand held.
What else?
He doesn't have trust.
In himself.
Yep.
He doesn't have trust in himself. How wild this is. I'll hit play.
it's totally different. That is a different kind of, right? So
Yep.
anyway, all right.
All right, my man, check it out. When do you want me to follow up with you?
If you don't hear from me within the next, I'm gonna fill this out. So I guess a month from now, give it a month, and I'll tell you where I'm at.
30 days. All right, my
Okay.
man, sounds good. Well, then
Sounds
you
good.
have an amazing rest of your month, and we'll touch base soon, my man. All right.
Yeah, you too. Take care.
All right, bye.
I don't know how to hang up. There we go.
It's interesting how he said originally he'd pay out the ass for your expertise. And then he didn't have any money, or it's going to take him 6 months to have the money.
He said, because he specifically said in fees,
Yeah.
like he
Like a
wants to be a
rev share.
rev share partner type shit.
Because you're going to do it all for him and get him all the rev.
Even if, let's say I took him on as a rev share partner and I took 50% of his business, do you think he's going to provide transformational outcome for his clients? No.
It would be your transformation.
I would have to step in. Like I would have to figure something out.
Yeah, he has some growth to do before he would be helping people in that way.
So much. Like
Yeah, I just
so
kind of felt bad for him in general. Not even just like where his business was, and the answer for that was one thing, right? But you could see where he was mentally, like how he feels about himself, how he feels about the world, how he feels about a lot of things, and it just felt bad. So I just really appreciated the way that you handled it and how you could have handled it versus the way you did handle it, and just being careful, even not knowing his situation, and then him sharing his situation. So anyway, it's not always about the sales and the program and the boundaries for all of that, but about the human part of it. Like, I just want to say thank you for that part, because, people do have a hard time, and it isn't easy, even for us that kind of have it together mentally, kind of sometimes, right?
Got it together, dude.
Right. Sometimes is what I'm saying. Like, and then to struggle with being on the spectrum or autism or any of that. Like, clearly there was a lot of things happening, but he still had this idea. He still came out. He still was vulnerable. He still was talking about it. Like, that was a lot of information he shared with you. So I just really appreciated the fact that you just gave him space. So, thank you.
And that's what I want everybody here to do. Just like I want my own team to do that.
Mm.
This is how you guys got to train your teams, but you have to be a living embodiment of your highest self at all times. It's easier when someone's there to hold you accountable.
Yeah.
right? Because you got to answer to someone. You got to make sure you're on your fucking toes type of situation, right?
Yeah, because it's like they don't fit in the program, but he still fits in the world somewhere, you know, and that's the point. Like, there's still people.
100%. And I could have totally been like, all right, bro, I'll help you do this. All you got to pay is $1,000. But who the like $1,000 isn't going to make or break anybody here. Let's be real.
But you left him in a situation where he might come to a place where he will spend that money and it will work because of how you guided him.
Shifted his paradigm.
Yep.
100%. What I would like from you guys is to fucking dissect that call and listen to my word tracks, how I'm actually communicating with him, because that's where the transformation happens. It's in the questions and in the realization of when his mind is blown. You feel me?
Yep.
Like, and it's not because he's on the spectrum. It's because he literally never saw it in the way I saw it. I'm on the fucking spectrum. Like, dude, everybody's on the fucking spectrum, dude. It's 2023. Let's be real.
And if you wouldn't have let him talk with your active listening, he told you everything you need to know. Like it's just yeah. And so the more you cannot talk, the more information they give you, which gives you your answers and the information really that you need to tell them back. Like, this is what you just said, right? This is not what I said. This is what you said. Or, you know, they just tell you what
based on what you're telling me, Andrew.
Yes.
This is what's going on with you. And if this is what's going on, that means you got to do this, and that.
Yeah.
I feel
it started one way, it ended another way. Just like Caitlin was saying, how he said he would pay out the ass, and then by the end he was like, "Well, I don't know if I can get $1,000." So, like, which one is it? And I know you said with the fees, but still, like, that was just still a mixed message. So,
if I would have told him, I don't believe you can provide the transformational outcome you're claiming that you say, I would have lost him. There would have been no paradigm shift that would have happened if I told him what I truly thought.
it would have been helpful, really, would it? Like, would that have been helping him?
I don't think so, because I believe that entrepreneurship is the #1 tool for self-growth, and I believe everybody needs it. So whatever I can possibly do to get people onto capitalism and entrepreneurship is what I'm going to do, because I really believe that's like a saving grace for everybody in the world. So it's like, for me, it's asking the right questions to get him to change the paradigm of what is the right way forward. But it only happens with asking the right questions. Like, my first sales call ever didn't go like that. So, like, guys, I've been doing this shit for a really long time. And guess what? I didn't learn how to have conversations like this until I started this program. Because guess what? I wasn't a fucking coach. That was coaching. That was transformational coaching happening.
I felt like I gave him hope by saying the video game thing, because that's like up his alley, and like it has what has to do with the story writing. Like,
it's his only saving grace. It's the only market he can tackle if he wants to align passion with his skill set.
But I don't think it ever occurred to him the way that you presented it to him, which it was like really cool to see that part.
Yeah, he just didn't get it. It was that alone, that one little piece of information would have been worth the whole call. But we kept going. We kept going, because even if he even told you, like, that's not enough for me. I can't do anything. He gave up on the fucking gold. He didn't know how to take it to, like, put action behind it.
Because he believes everything is hard. He's already, like, got that
Everything
story.
should be spoon-fed to him for some reason. I guess Evie mentioned because he's into the higher education system. Thank God I couldn't afford it. Thank God I could not afford college, dude. I literally, you know what so I don't talk about this. This is some of the stuff I'm ashamed to talk about, but I'm gonna share it with you guys. When I went to Hillsborough Community College for 2 years. I got a Pell Grant from the government. I took that money and I bought drugs and I started selling drugs. and I got hooked on drugs. And this isn't just weed. Like, I was selling Molly, I was selling Xanax, I was addicted to Xanax, I was in a toxic relationship. I made my first $20,000 online 16 years old. And guess what? I got lost in the fucking sauce. I thought I was better than it. My ego was fucking so high, dude. And I spent all the money. I spent all the fucking money. I bought my first car and that's all I had to show for it. Right? And I get this fucking Pell Grant money. I don't know why my mind just didn't stick on the skill set I had learned. It just wasn't appealing to me anymore. And I fucking had to use this money. I didn't have to. I used this money to, instead of buying books, I bought drugs. I sold drugs, made a lot of money selling drugs, and I got hooked into that lifestyle. Right? That I don't know if you guys know this, but that's why I connect with Cody. Like, we have a very similar background. He was a stripper. I was addicted to strippers. I thought I could save every fucking hoe out there. And that's where I learned, like, I gotta love myself. That's the truth. Like, that's my background. I was in really bad toxic relationships where I didn't love myself enough. When Cody talks, I feel him, dude. Like, I really do. We have this trauma bond going on. But yeah, dude, it was bad. The best thing I could have ever done was go through that, because if I didn't sell drugs and I didn't get robbed by my best friend at gunpoint for fucking 20 grand, I would have never become the person I am today. I'm going to tell you guys a story. When my best friend robs me at gunpoint, I had a fucking giant duffel bag of just a shitload of fucking drugs and money. And gun, dude. And I didn't give a fuck about my life. I literally fucking went and grabbed the bag, and then he pistol whips me really fucking hard. And I didn't know what to do. Like that, I'd never gotten in a fight like that before in my life. Like, I really didn't know what to do. And I was just set up. Like, it was really bad. Then my fucking great-grandmother dies. It was the toughest thing for me. My great-grandmother was the queen of our household. Our family, she had 8 kids, right? And like, my grandmother's like my mom, because my mom left me when I was 7 years old, and she got deported from the United States. So I never really had a relationship with her until I was older, right? So my great-grandmother was like my grandmother. You know what I'm saying? And when she passes away, I have this very vivid dream with her. We're in her house. I never fucking share this with people, but we're in her house and we don't talk. We're communicating telepathically. And she's just sitting there with my duffel bag on her lap and my laptop on her dining room table. And she tells me, "Why are you doing this? Focus over there." And then I wake up. And in that moment, like, I'm fucking tearing up. In that moment, I broke up with my toxic relationship. I changed my life there. There was no, let me think about it. I changed my life there because I knew she was onto something. I knew there was a reason I had that dream. I had something fucking better going for me than fucking selling drugs and getting robbed by my friends or the people I thought were my friends. The people did not give a fuck about me. They are nowhere in life today. I've had some of them reach out to me for jobs. These are people that, like, once I broke up with my girlfriend, they would try to have sex with them and date them. That's not a friend. That's not high quality people. That's shitty fucking people. And then I realized, like, I started trying to learn more skills. I started trying to learn, who the fuck do I want to become? I figured out how to make money online with other people's product. Okay, let me turn that into a skill set. Let me fucking leverage that and sell that to people. All right, I'll start an agency. Guess what? I went door to door knocking on fucking businesses to try to get their business. And guess what? I didn't know how to communicate. I didn't know how to convince people on how to buy my products. So I fell flat on my fucking face with my first marketing agency. Right? Then I got a job at Nielsen, #1 market research company in the world. I learned how valuable data was. I learned how they sell a little fucking booklet for $50,000 or more. And that shit blew my mind. After working there for a year, I got the opportunity to get a commission-only sales job. I went from a $50,000 a year job, which in my family was a fucking home run. Like, I made it. Like, I made more money than my mom and my dad. Like, that was like, and I had insurance. I had all these fucking things. And they were so proud of me. It was the most proud my parents had ever been up until that point. And it felt good. And guess what? It was devastating for them to know I was leaving that to go get a commission-only sales job at a car dealership. And they didn't get it. They didn't get that I was trying to get the skills I needed to become the person I said I wanted to be. And I didn't even really get it yet. I just knew I wanted to sell my fucking product. Guess what? I fucking do car sales. In the first 3 months, I built a really good relationship with my sales manager. He's the one that taught me. He was the inception of the anti-selling selling system, because he would get people to sign monthly payments being super confused. Like, oh, how can I make this happen for you? How do I get the desk to really get you that? No. Okay. So this is what you're willing to pay. Okay. I'm going to go talk to them. I'm on your side. And I would walk and they would just laugh in the fucking desk. Like, oh, you got them at that. Like, and it was so unethical. Like, it was so unethical. And I was like, in my mind, I was like, how can I use this for good? Because they're fucking these people, right? And I would see this. And then guess what? I built such a great relationship with him. He fucking brought me under his arm and showed me his lifestyle. I have an addictive personality. I got addicted to fucking cocaine and strippers. Like, bro, with him. It was so toxic. So boom, another 3 months of my life gone because I forgot what I went there for. I forgot. At this point, now hindsight 2020, I have a microadenoma in my brain that causes memory loss. So now I know why I keep forgetting sometimes. Right. But in that moment, I was just lost in the fucking sauce. I would like brainwash myself to think that I wanted to own a car dealership. I don't know shit about cars. I don't even like cars. I have a Porsche I don't even fucking drive. Like, I really could care less about fucking cars. And I was telling myself I wanted to own a car dealership. That's fucking insane. Thank God that my cousin got fired from that job. And I was like, there's absolutely nothing holding me here. I live streamed on Facebook. I actually asked permission from my sales manager because I really respected the guy. I was like, dude, I really want to go back to starting my agency. Like, I think I can do it with the sales skills I learned. Like, Grant Cardone taught me so much because it was at a dealership that was taught by Grant Cardone on how to do sales processes. So that was my fucking first inside look on how sales processes work. I was like, dude, what do you think? Like, would you be mad at me if I left? He's like, Laura, you're destined for so much more than this. Like, you fucking go. And on that spot, grabbed my phone, did a live stream. I was like, guys, guess what? I quit Wesley Chapel Nissan. I'm going to go start my business. And I never fucking looked back. I never looked back. I didn't know how I was going to get a client. Like, I didn't. And guess what? It took me 6 months to make my first $100,000. 6 months. And that is where the cold outbound motherfucking system was built, baby. The first version of that. The fucking first version of that. I made $100,000 in 6 months because of one system I'm showing you in this program, which is cold email. I wasn't even following up on them. Like, they would just respond all the time and be like, yeah, I want this. Yeah, I want this. Because why? I was undervaluing what I was doing because I didn't know the real transformation I was causing. Right. And I didn't value myself. For $1,500, I'll run your Facebook ads. I'll build your funnel. I'll create your creative. I'll even do your ad copy. That same shit now I sell for anywhere from $75,000 to $250,000 plus 8 to 12% rev share. The same shit. It's fucking crazy to think about. Hindsight 2020, dude. Life is perfect. Everything happens for a reason. Any type of trauma you're going through, It's because it's preparing you for who you say you want to be and who you are destined for. I promise you, that's my life. I know this took longer than it should, guys, but I really felt like I needed to share that with you guys. And I just want you to know, like, I love you guys, and your success really is our success. Like, we will do whatever it takes to make sure you fucking win. Because
You
I don't
provided more value than we're paying for, so thank you.
always under promise and over deliver. That's our motto. That's what we put in our fucking 75K to 250K contracts. That's literally right there. We under promise and over deliver. We do apocalypse projections, worst case scenario projections, and average projections. We never fucking over promise. It is like, to me, it's just not a good vibe. You know what I'm saying? So, that was a lot. That was a lot, guys. Oh, man. I really never talk about this. And I shared a Russ song with Kara that's like, there's some parts of my past that I'm ashamed to talk about. But like, I feel like once you guys understand where I come from, and that's not even like, that's just like a tiny little piece, dude. Like, there's so much fucking more. But like, this shit's about you guys. This shit's about, what do I have to do? What are the things I have to say to be able to help you have the shift that you need to have to get the outcome that you say you want? And I just want to say how grateful I am for every single one of you, because you have helped me show up better in this world. Every single one of you, everybody that's ever gone through this program has helped me show up better in this world. And you guys are helping me become the person I say I want to be. You're helping me create scalable impact by asking questions. It's so important for you guys to ask questions, because when questions get repeated, that means there's videos I got to create, and it helps me give you transferable knowledge. It helps me instill better fucking programs, right? Like, there's going to be an RDCP V10. That shit's coming. Like, and maybe ChatGPT does all the work. I don't fucking know. I really don't know, right? But like, it's all an iterative process. Imagine if I quit. Like, when I tell you I had suicidal thoughts, and those thoughts don't ever go away, shit gets really tough. That's when I know for a fact, if I have a thought of me wanting to give up, I know that the breakthrough is right around the corner. I know it. It's a fact for me. It's not even a question. Like, I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that when I'm going through painful scenarios, that I don't think it's like, I'm going to give up. No, it's helping me be prepared for who I say I want to be. All of it. Biggest takeaways? Anybody want to share biggest takeaways?
Can I just say that, you know, with you telling your story, that's a good thing for all of us to remember, that we don't know where people have come from and what experiences they've had in their lives when we talk to them. And we can't assume that they're where we were, because they're not.
That's true. That's true.
I just put it in the chat, but like, I think from everything you shared, the real challenge is like just showing up for ourselves all the time, like just consistently doing it. And it's hard, right? It's like constant battle, but your story is just showing how you still do it, right? You just keep showing up, and no matter what we're going through, you know, to get there, it's just like, just keep doing it, just keep showing up. And that's what winners do. I think, like, I've seen that a lot. I think even since joining the program, right? It's like, you just see when you show up for yourself and you just keep doing things, it works. It really just works if you do it. Like, what you're meant for in life, you know, when we're not fighting ourselves all the time, right? Then what you're meant for happens.
It's facts,
You
dude.
do the work.
Like, 90% of success is just showing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, none of us are immune to the things, right? So you can have the money, success, we could show up all the time, but we're still going to have life happen to us. We're still going to have these thoughts. We're still going to play the tapes of the trauma from when we were a kid or something that happened. Like, you just have to keep going. That's it. There is no special pill recipe that we've all tried to look for, whether it was a pill or a liquid or whatever it was, right? There is nothing. It's just to keep going. So,
dude, it's literally consistency. So I got my breakthrough. The moment where my parents decided to believe in me and what I was doing was the moment that 600 people showed up to watch me talk at an event with Gary Vaynerchuk. It was that moment when my family actually chose to believe in me and could see the vision that I saw. And they saw a fraction of it, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's when they started to brag about me to other parents that they knew.
and some people may never even have that, right? Like, and that's okay. You know, you just have to know for yourself. That's all. You don't have to convince the other people. Some people aren't going to come along. Some people aren't going to agree. They're going to question what they're doing. Why are you leaving your job? This is an 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. What are you thinking? Are you sure you don't have insurance? This, that. I'm sure everybody here has had the questions, right? Or like felt the judgments. Or when are you going to find a real job? Has anybody, I mean, I've gotten that question quite a few times, right? And so it's like, you just keep going. That's it. It's like you can't really hear it.
Exactly. You got to ignore them because they don't know. They can't see what you see because they're not visionaries. You are the visionary. Right? And sometimes that moment only happened for me because I showed up consistently on Instagram, and the chick that happened to be the organizer of the event found me on Instagram and was like, "Hey, I'm putting on this event." She did not tell me Gary Vee was going to be there, and she didn't even know yet. She just knew that I was showing up consistently on social media and that I had something powerful to share with people. And she happened to be in control of Startup Tampa Bay. And I also think she was madly in love with me, but that showed itself later on, which was awesome.
Well, that helped a little bit.
It got you there.
But don't ever, like, the biggest mistake I ever made was entertaining somebody that was like an event coordinator of an important event. Like, and she was married. So it was even like, and because my mom left me and my dad when I was 7, I had this mental fucking belief that I should be breaking up relationships for some fucking idiotic reason. Like, and I was addicted to that. I was addicted to that type of fucking chase. It was horrible. It was fucking horrible. But anyways, story for another time.
Yeah. And I was just thinking of something else, like a big takeaway is being around the right people and like quieting the noise around you, how important that is. Like, since I joined this program, I've had so much success, and I've paid other people and joined other programs. And, I barely had success yet. Like, it's just starting, but it's like being around the right high vibe people. That's what I feel like what you're saying in your story is that you keep yourself around the right people and you just keep going back to it. And then that's what helps you. Don't be around people who aren't doing better than you, who aren't achieving more than what you want to do. And don't listen to what they say.
Yeah, 100%. And like, you don't even have to be physically close to them. When I went into isolation, I just read fucking books and listened to podcasts of people that had what I wanted. Yeah. And I had a conversation that was really tough for my parents. That was like, I can't listen to your advice. You do not have the life that I want. And it really upset them. But guess what? It doesn't matter because I want a fucking life that they cannot help me get because they don't have the data sets. They don't have the right information to get me where I want to go. Why would you ever take advice from someone that doesn't have that?
Yeah, that's insane. Do it. Yeah, so many people do it like in their lives. So, and the other big thing is mindset's everything. If I've learned nothing here, I've learned that lesson 1,000 times. Like, it has nothing to do with what business system you use or how you do stuff. Like, it has nothing to do with that. You make it easier for us because the systems work, but it's all about like all the mindset stuff that you teach us. That's what it is. And like that John, is that his name? He like, I think his disability was the challenge for him. Like, I think he's missing some of those skills to be able to choose to, embrace the change and want to have a different mindset. That's part of the way I saw it. But he's not in the right places, not around the right people, and doesn't have the mindset support. Doesn't have the mindset support to help him learn how to change.
He has the wrong information.
Yeah. Because he
imagine
a lot of support in that way.
Imagine if we built communities that supported us to take risks, to be adventurous, to believe in ourselves.
Mhm.
You know, Greta, that's a beautiful thought, but the system won't allow that. The system wants you like that guy. The system wants you to be helpless.
Yeah.
They want that because guess what? Who's the only person you can rely on? The system. You have to rely on what is it, welfare? That's what it's called when they pay you money, right? They have people programmed to be like this. This is the byproduct of higher education. Like straight up. EB said it best. He's right.
I don't think it's the product of, I'm not sure I totally believe that. I think higher education can be really useful in the right hands, and if you get the right education. Not every school
You
is
got
the
the right
same.
education at the right time where it wasn't like that.
Well, and also my dyslexia helps.
Yeah, so you're an out of the box thinker anyway. No, it's
Yeah.
wild. They did studies and like entrepreneurs have some type of disability and that's why they can see the world differently. But like you fucking crush it at life because you don't have to be inside of this box that they want you to be in.
Yeah. I did graduate from college and I did have a problem with the way they taught things and how they were grading my creativity. And I really fought the system the entire time I was in college, even though like I did it because I thought that was what you're supposed to do and I got my degree and whatever, but like it never felt fulfilling in any way or any sort of like it just felt like I had my little paper behind me or whatever, but like that was all. But it definitely, I fought it the entire time I was in it. So yeah, I can attest to that too, Greta.
So when I was in the education world and we were teaching and we had to do this whole push that kids had to go to college. This was elementary school. And the one teacher I was working with on this team, he said to these kids one day, he goes, if you don't go to college, you'll never amount to anything, which I wanted to just punch him in the nose. But anyhow, I had this kid. And so in my classroom, we were talking about, what do you want to do when you get older? And this kid was embarrassed to tell me. And he goes, Mrs. Stapler, he says, I don't know if you know what a pub is. I'm like, yeah, I know what a pub is. He goes, well, I want to own that. He says, I don't really want to go to college. And I said, well, then own a pub. But that was not the push. I mean, the push was you tell kids they have to go to college.
They're forcing that shit on you, dude.
Yeah.
It's insane. And it's sad because not everybody fits in that box,
Oh.
or especially with
No, and a
AI.
lot of the kids I taught, they didn't have family support. A lot of them were welfare, Title I school. I mean, college was the furthest thing from their reality.
That was me, dude. You know how much anxiety it would give me to think about going to fucking college because I knew my dad couldn't afford it?
Mm-hmm.
Like it would, dude, I was a horrible kid from 6th grade to 8th grade. I was in school suspension like most of the fucking time. As soon as 9th grade happened, I became the best behaved kid because I didn't want my dad to be let down. And I started taking AP classes. Guess what? I fucking hacked the whole high school system because all I took was AP and I would get C's in APs, which is an A in a regular fucking class. I graduated with a 3.8 GPA and I didn't go to school for the last year. If I would have gone to school for my senior year, because by then I had already made my 20 grand and I thought it was the shit, right? So, I was like, fuck these teachers, they ain't teaching me shit. And I thought I was the best shit ever. And so I gave up my senior year until my fucking VP of school calls me. And guess what? I was so slick. It was my number in my emergency card or whatever that they were calling. They thought it was my dad. But no, I answered the phone. He's like, is this Laura? I'm like, and I got caught. He was like, if you don't show up to school today, I'm expelling you and you're not graduating. And that's the only reason I ended up doing that last like 2 months of senior year. Like legit, I did not believe in the system. I just knew I had to walk away with a diploma, a high school diploma. So my dad wasn't completely fucking pissed at me. You know what I'm saying? Like at this point, I didn't even live with my parents. Like I moved out of my dad's house when I was 17 years old because again, I'd cracked the code. I had figured out how to make money online. Like it's like it was, dude, it was wild. It was fucking wild. I did not fit in the narrative of higher education, but I cracked the fucking code because I knew what buttons I needed to press to get the right GPA to go to the right school. But by the end of it, it didn't even matter. How crazy is that?
That's exactly what I did in college. I would take the class that qualified for as many of the areas as possible so that I had to take the least amount of classes to get it done the fastest. And I was convinced also that high school should be like 2 years instead of 4 because I totally could have completed in that time. And it was a total waste of time. Maybe that's like people that think like that are like, I mean, maybe that's the mindset of like trying to get things done in different ways, or I don't know. But that's interesting. Yeah, I never fit, and I did good at school. I didn't have a problem at school at all. And I'm not trying to brag. I'm just saying that wasn't the issue. It was just that like it felt like a waste of time. It felt like this could be done so much more efficiently in another way. And college just felt like they're just trying to get my money. And so fine, I'm just gonna get out of here as fast as I can and check the boxes. So that was it. That's how I did it. And I went to school full time and worked full time, and that was my college experience. So
Yeah, wild.
with a piece of paper.
Yeah, piece of paper though. Yeah, my dad has my high school diploma at his house. Like, still, like, it's a big deal. But then around it, he has all my speaker tags. So he collects them. Anytime I go to a speaking event, he's like, "Laura, you better get that speaker tag." Like, he is so proud of me. He's so fucking proud of me. And it's so fucking cool to feel that, because for a very long time I didn't feel that. And like, he does my taxes. So he knows how much money I'm making. He's like, holy, like, I shifted his paradigm. He didn't think it was possible. He came to America with $500 and that's it. We lived 8 to a 2-bedroom apartment. 8 people to a 2-bedroom apartment. His first job was at TGI Fridays, being a busboy after fucking going to college in Peru and fucking being some type of civil engineer, busting his ass. His parents had money, but guess what? He never had to drive. His dad was an entrepreneur that didn't believe in school, and my dad was the only one that was like, school. So he really wanted me to go to school. It's wild, dude. Dude, it's fucking, life is great. Life is fucking fantastic, dude. Everything's perfect. Anyways, any big takeaways anybody wants to share before we hop off?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Don't give up. Thank you.
Never give up. That's not even an option.
I have to say one little thing. I have on my vision plan, I'm going to create a foundation that changes the way that education is delivered to people who learn differently. I probably said it a lot of times, but that's my life's work and life's goal. So just hearing you talk about that story, seeing John, and I actually work with a client who has autism, who needs help kind of like putting the things together in a slower way. So it was good to see that and just hear. Someday I'm going to do something that's going to be great. I don't know what it's going to be yet. It's going to make it better. Learn
I was going to say, you are doing something great.
Well,
you're already doing it, dude.
Yeah, but something that's, even more. I'm going to do even more things. I'm going to do more things. Thanks for having this call for us.
For sure.
You're driving the vehicle right now that's going to deliver you to your greatest
Yes.
destination.
I love you guys. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day, and you guys better be ready with some challenges to overcome on Wednesday, because I'm going to be ready. I'm going to be ready to overcome them challenges. So be prepared. All right, guys. You have an amazing night, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Good night.